What is going on, everyone? It's your boy Blank Online here. Today we're going to be talking about something that's pretty controversial, a feature in Modern Warfare that you may or may not know is actually in the game. But before I get any further in this video, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so, because we're about 22 subs away from the big fat 100 subscribers. It's my goal to get that, and I'm on the grind to get that right now. So as I said at the start, if you haven't subscribed, do so, because we have a bunch of great Modern Warfare content about to come out. But let's talk about the topic at hand here. We're going to be talking about skill-based matchmaking. Now I'm going to answer a couple of questions here to start off, because you may be thinking, if you're not too familiar with it, what the hell is skill-based matchmaking and why should I care? So to start off, what is skill-based matchmaking? Skill-based matchmaking is essentially a matchmaking algorithm that takes into account a player's skill. So any individual player, whether you're level 1, level 55, doesn't matter. So it's a variable of two things essentially. In traditional skill-based matchmaking, it takes account of your whole player stats, KD ratio, score per minute, and all that sort of stuff. In a game like what we have here in Modern Warfare, it's based off of the previous 5 games that you've played. So if you've done really well in the previous 5 games, chances are the next batch of games you're probably not going to do as well, because you'll be versing players of a higher skill. Why do you care, and why should you care? Well, essentially what Call of Duty should be is a mainly connection-based matchmaking system, so primarily prioritizing giving players the best connection rather than giving players a lobby of players who are the same skill as them, which is where skill-based matchmaking gets a lot of hate, because why would you prioritize players, just putting players with the same people, over giving players the best server and the best connection within the game? So that's why you should care, essentially, because as a system, skill-based matchmaking is not as great as just purely connection-based matchmaking system. So moving forward, a couple of YouTubers, so Exclusive Ace and Drifter, dived into skill-based matchmaking, tested it to see whether or not it exists here in Modern Warfare. If you've watched Drifter's video, you can see, that he actually revoked his statement when he said skill-based matchmaking doesn't exist, because skill-based matchmaking in fact does exist here in Modern Warfare to some capacity. It's not as grand as it has been in previous Call of Duty games, which is great to see, and it's actually been found that Modern Warfare's matchmaking system does prioritize connection over skill in most cases, but that's not to say that skill-based matchmaking does not exist. It was found, however, that Modern Warfare, as I said earlier, takes into account your previous 5 games. So again, that idea that if you did really good in those 5 games, the next couple of games you'll probably be matched up with players who are of the same skill of you or even higher skill than you, therefore meaning your next 5 games probably aren't going to be as great, and then you'll just go back to where you were at the beginning to then go back up again, and then it's just this whole cycle essentially. It's not as bad as what it could have been, right? It's not as bad as a traditional skill-based matchmaking system is, where connection really isn't a factor and you're just being put into lobbies with players who are of your same skill level or even higher. Because the thing is, right, even in Modern Warfare, you're being match made with players who are super fucking sweaty. If you've had a couple of good games, you're gonna be matched up with those people who are drop shotting, sitting in corners, claymore, riot shield, throwing knife, like doing all M4, 725, doing all the tactics that sweaty try-hard nerds do when they think that public games are a Call of Duty Championships final or a game to save their dying mother. Like it's that sort of thing that if you have a couple good games, you're going to be matched up with players who think that this next public match game is the end of the world for them. But the upside to all this is that it has been found that Modern Warfare does prioritize connection-based over skill-based, which is a really, really good thing. The ideal situation and the ideal world would be for it to just purely be connection-based and not to have this little factor in there of your previous 5 games performance, but I guess we can't have everything in this world, and it's better than what we could have had. This also ties into the point of Infinity Ward tailoring Modern Warfare towards the new player or the casual player essentially, and not someone who I don't know, plays the game as regularly as say I do, or you guys probably do because you're watching a video based on Call of Duty. Infinity Ward didn't make this game for us, right? They made this game so that casual players and new players can step into it and feel more comfortable, which is why they introduced Safe Space Pro. Essentially, Safe Space Pro, if you guys don't know by now, if you run out of a building, you're most likely going to die because you left your safe space. Your safe space being a corner with a claymore and a riot shield, essentially, is what Infinity Ward intended for this all to happen. How does that tie in, essentially? Well, basically, if you're starting your account on level 1, you don't have any stats, you don't have 5 games of previous performance, you're going to be match made with people who more than likely or not either are really bad at the game or are of the same level as you or are in the same boat as you. So players who have just started playing Modern Warfare, or players who are just can't play the game to save their life, essentially. Just really bad players. I would love to be in those lobbies, I'd love to play with those people, but unfortunately I cannot, because it's because of skill-based matchmaking or whatever shit they're trying to pull there. Like, again, yeah, like, so Infinity Ward essentially just implementing this system so that, let's say for example, a player who like myself or you guys who are watching this video who are fairly decent at Call of Duty, they can't just have 10 really bad games and then continuously play with really bad people, which is essentially what's called reverse boosting. It's that idea, that concept to take advantage of skill-based matchmaking, so that you can have really bad games, and then for however long until the game realizes that you're actually a good player, play against really bad players because you just intentionally played really bad. That sort of system can't happen here in Modern Warfare because it's based on those last 5 games, right? So you have 5 really good games, you can't then have 5 really bad games because to get into those better lobbies, because what happens is, even if you do that, and even if you have 5 really bad games and then you go ahead and have 5 really good games, you're gonna go straight back to where you were, and then you got to do that whole process again. And people who do reverse boost, they do so to boost their stats, so their KD ratio, win-loss and all that sort of stuff, SPM and whatever. That kind of defeats the purpose, because since it is based on your 5 games of performance, you're essentially condemning yourself to a really bad KD and 5 losses every time you want to try and get into those noob lobbies, right? So essentially, reverse boosting isn't necessarily a thing with the skill-based matchmaking system that Infinity Ward has implemented here in Modern Warfare. Again, good thing. Like, skill-based matchmaking here in this game is not all bad. I feel like, myself included, I expected to come into this video at least and be hating it and ridiculing it and criticizing it and all this sort of stuff, but I'm actually not too disappointed by it, because like it's not, one, it's not as bad as it could have been, and 2, it does eliminate the need for people to reverse boost, because it's really annoying in previous Call of Duty games getting into a game and trying to play the objective and trying to win the game itself when you have 2 or 3 of your teammates just sitting there in the back of the map just waiting for the match to end. Because really, how can you have a 6v6 game of objective when only half the team's playing? Your team's probably going to lose, therefore you lose, your stats go down, your KD goes down, and then those players who are just sitting at the back of the map go into those noob lobbies and then smash it from there, right? So that whole concept of reverse boosting is pretty much non-existent here in Modern Warfare because of the skill-based matchmaking system that they have in place. That, again, really good thing there. So I think that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to talk about, all I wanted to cover here. Does skill-based matchmaking exist in here in Modern Warfare? Yes, it does to a certain extent. While the game does have increments and elements of it, it still prioritizes connection over skill-based matchmaking, but it does take into account your personal last 5 games and your performance in those last 5 games to then match you up with players who are similar to the way you performed, again, while still attempting to connect you to servers and matches that provide the best overall multiplayer experience for you. So that's pretty much it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave in the comments down below. I would love to hear what you guys think in terms of skill-based matchmaking, what you think I guess next year's game with Black Ops 5 or whatever that may be. What should Treyarch do? Should they go to purely connection based? Should they go to purely skill-based matchmaking? Or should they do this hybrid that Infinity Ward has come up with? I don't know about come up with, but this hybrid that Infinity Ward is doing here in Modern Warfare. Let me know all that stuff down below. As I said at the start of this video, if you haven't subscribed yet, and that red button is still red just below the video, click that subscribe button, because again, 22 subs away from that big fat 100, and I'd love to get there, and I'd love for you guys to join me on that journey to getting there. And then as well, you guys can get some awesome content on Modern Warfare. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
pull up in the gold, I'm leading. But them other man need feeding. I don't wanna go Bombay. Them I don't know what I do when I go from Beeling. Leading the pack in black and I'm on with the bag. Snapping with a phone and die. Boss up a man with a duster. Put him in the drip and sit blockbuster. Win, 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 that's the only ammo. Ring, 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 I reply with NO. Call me Leno, had it hot.